Dead organisms decay into fossil fuels, which release CO2 when burned. Plants absorb CO2 through photosynthesis to produce food. Animal respiration and root respiration contribute more CO2 to the atmosphere. Factories also emit CO2, while the oceans absorb and release it. This continuous cycle ensures CO2 is constantly exchanged between the atmosphere, plants, animals, and oceans. Raindrops act as tiny prisms, refracting and reflecting sunlight. When white light enters a raindrop, it is refracted, or bent, by different amounts based on its color. The light then reflects inside the droplet before exiting. This combination of refraction and reflection separates the colors, creating a vivid arc of 7 distinct colors, known as a rainbow. This horizontal/vertical bar graph depicts the information referring to household with the access of the internet. The data is presented in percentage. It's crystal clear from the graph that 2020 has the highest percentage, at 70%, while 2017 has the lowest, roughly 60%. Apart from that, 2018 and 2019 have almost equivalent percentage, roughly 60%. In conclusion, it may be noticed that gradual increase was there from the year 2017 to 2020. The food chain is an energy source diagram. The food chain begins with a producer, which is eaten by a primary consumer. The primary consumer may be eaten by a secondary consumer, which in turn may be consumed by a tertiary consumer. The slices of the pie chart illustrate preferred mode of commuting. The data is presented in form of percentage. It's crystal clear from the pie chart that the lion's percentage of preferred mode of commuting is covered by metro, followed by bike. On the other hand, the smallest part is covered by car. In conclusion, it may be stated that metro is the most preferred mode of commuting and car is the least mode of commuting. This is a map of Australia illustrating climate zones based on their temperature and humidity. There are 6 different classifications, including hot humid, cool temperate and hot dry summer, warm winter. As we can see from the diagram, Australia has a fairly evenly distributed climate spectrum. The northern regions of the country are much warmer and more humid, whereas the southern areas and Tasmania are much cooler. The flow chart represents the life cycle of a tomato. A tomato plant begins life as a seed. The seed becomes a young plant as it grows roots that reach into the soil and a stem that grows towards the sun. As it grows taller, it becomes a mature plant with a strong stem and many leaves. When the season is right, the mature plant grows flowers. The flowers mature into fruit that we call tomatoes. Inside each fruit are many seeds. In conclusion, the picture gives information about different stages of tomato. The consumption trends of fruits and vegetables in the U.S. are shown in this line graph. According to data from 1970 to 2010, vegetables were more widely consumed than fruits during that time. Vegetable consumption, however, dramatically climbed starting in 1980, while the fruit consumption trend remained largely stable, with a maximum consumption of 280 pounds approximately. However, between 200 and 2010, there was a decline observed in the intake of both. The number of students with problems attending lectures rose drastically from 18 to 32% in University A, whereas it remained at 15 to 16% in University B. University A saw a reduction in the number of students having issues with submitting tasks on time, from 28 to 18%, while this increased from 13 to 19% for University B. Finally, University A had 24% of students with problems concentrating in lectures, compared with 18% in University B, and this did not change over time. The pie chart segregates the activities in which the pupils of 5th grade at Harpeth Hall indulge in during the snow days. It is illustrated that 43% of the pupils indulge in riding on the sledge in the snow, 14% enjoy watching TV during the snow days, and 14% of the pupils like to play around. Another 14% of pupils like to sleep. 11% of them like to read books, and only 3% of them sit by the fire during the snow days. Oil crops undergo photosynthesis to produce seeds, which are then processed to extract vegetable oil. This oil is refined and reacted with alcohol through transesterification to create biodiesel and glycerol. The biodiesel is used in vehicles, offering a renewable fuel alternative that reduces CO2 emissions compared to conventional diesel, thus supporting environmental sustainability. The water cycle illustrates the continuous movement of water across the Earth's surface and atmosphere, demonstrating its intricate, interconnected processes. It starts with liquid water evaporating into water vapor due to solar heat. This vapor then condenses into clouds. Plants also contribute through transpiration, releasing water vapor into the air. Eventually, the accumulated moisture falls back to the Earth as precipitation, which can be rain, snow, or other forms of moisture, completing the cycle. This bar chart represents the literacy rate by region and gender during 2010. Central Asia and Eastern Europe had almost 100% literacy rates, while East Asia, the Pacific region, Latin America, and the Caribbean had higher literacy rates in males than females. In Arab states, South and West Asia, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa, had the lowest literacy rates. In conclusion, all regions had over 60% literacy rates, and except in Central and Eastern Europe, males were more educated than females. The bar graph represents the percentage of adults who were overweight from 1965 to 2015, and the T-pie chart shows the weight range of adults during the year 2015. According to the bar chart, the percentage of people who were obese increased from below 50 to over 70% in 50 years' time. According to the pie chart, in 2015, 6% of adults were severely obese, 34% were obese, 31% were overweight, and just 29% were healthy and underweight. In conclusion, obesity increased rapidly in 1985, and only a few individuals remained healthy and underweight. This pie chart represents the proportion of various throwaway options selected by Australians. The most favorite was a Chinese takeaway with 34%, while 26% of orders were for Indian food. The Italian takeaway option was chosen by just 10%, while 9% was for British takeaway. About 3% of Thai food, the least, and 4% were in the unknown category. In conclusion, Chinese and Indian seem to be the most selected takeaway options by Australians. This image represents the poverty cycle in human society. It starts in a poor household where the disease has little or no food, unclean food, and no options for education or schooling. That leads to diseases and infections, leaving you with no energy to work or acquire skills. In turn, productivity is low, leading to too little or no income at all, which results in low self-esteem and without any personal control. Followed by more childbirths, sick elderly, and more dependents to feed, which again ends up in even more poor households. In conclusion, without any intervention by a welfare organization, the cycle has no stop in sight. The two images represent the process that leads to the ascending and descending of a hot air balloon. During ascending, a propane tank burner flame creates an airfoul. The airflow creates an upward lift for the balloon. On the other hand, during the descending process, the burner is switched off. The air is allowed to escape from the top of the envelope through the parachute valve. In conclusion, the hot air balloon works on the principle of hot air going up, creating a lift. This image represents a scene at a medical center. At first glance, it seems that the clinic is full of patients waiting to get treated by the doctor. The nurses at the check-in are busy noting down the details from a patient, while another nurse is talking on the phone about booking appointments. While sitting, a patient is honking to clear his nose. Behind him, a red-faced little girl is waiting with her mother in line. Another patient is checking her tongue in the mirror, and a Gucci is holding his painful back. In conclusion, it seems that the medicinal center is a very busy place with a variety of essentials. This image represents the flow chart of a water treatment plant. In the beginning, the water is made available from a lake and passed through a chemical treatment of chlorine, lime, and alum. After mixing the chemicals, they are first allowed to coagulate and flocculate, then passed through the sedimentation process. Following that, the filtration and disinfectant procedures are carried out. The disinfected water is stored in a storage unit before being sent for distribution. In conclusion, the water treatment process looks multi-staged and systematic to provide clean water for the public. This image represents the various car safety features. The front and back crumple zones protect the car from front and rear impacts. The multiple airbags are placed in the car cabin to protect the passengers in case of an accident. The front and back seats have seat belts, so passengers won't get tossed after an accident. There are side impact bars to protect travelers from getting injured from the side. In conclusion, all the safety features keep the passengers protected from any injury. The picture represents the different body parts of an insect. The body consists of three main parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. The head contains the insect's brain, eyes, and mouth. It also carries the antennae. The thorax is the central part of the body, and it bears the legs and wings. There are 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings. The insect's abdomen contains its digestive and reproductive organs. In conclusion, this marvelous creature has a very short lifespan. The image represents a right-angled triangle. The base is called the adjacent, represented by the letter B, the elevation is the opposite side, represented by the letter A, and the hypotenuse is the line joining sides A and B. There is also a picture of a funny-looking hippopotamus leaning on the hypotenuse, probably for the purpose of memorizing the position of the hypotenuse. In conclusion, this right-angled triangle has made an angle of 90 degrees at C. This picture demonstrates the ABC right-angle triangle.